You have told a chatbot something this month that you have not told another person. A health worry, a salary, a client's number, something about your business partner you've not been brave enough to say out loud. It felt private, but it was not private. 5 different types of people can retrieve that conversation with or without your permission, and even if you delete it. Nobody has ever promised you that your AI chats are private. In this video, I'm going to talk you through who can read your chats, and stick around to the end where I tell you what you can do to protect yourself. So let's start with why it feels private. When you're chatting to Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, or Grok, there's nobody there. It's not like email, which you send to another person, or Slack, where your colleagues are watching, or a face-to-face conversation where you choose your words carefully because people are looking at you. A chatbot removes that audience, no tone to manage, no eyebrow raised across the table, just a text box that answers helpfully and never judges you. Claude's quite judgmental actually, but anyway. So people type things they would put nowhere else. The medical worry, the salary, the client's confidential information, their strategy, their grievance. You don't send an email thinking it's going to evaporate, but you treat a chatbot like it will. And that's even built into the design. You get better answers because you tell it things you wouldn't tell a colleague. You are not on the defensive. So what you say to a chatbot is far more revealing than what you say in any other context. The first reader is the AI companies. You might have switched off model training, and you should. Claude, ChatGPT, and Gemini to an extent all let you do it. But all that's doing is telling the AI company that they don't have permission to train their next model on your chat. It says nothing about whether they're stored, who can retrieve them, or what happens when a court asks for them. Switching off training doesn't make your chats private. It makes them untrained on different things. So even with your training permission switched off, on Claude, your chats are still retained for at least 30 days, sometimes longer. What happens after 30 days? They might be deleted, but they might not. If your conversation is flagged by the automated safety system as breaching a policy, it can be held for 2 years. If you press thumbs up or thumbs down, that conversation is stored for 5 years and can be used for research and training. And if they're required to retain them by law, they will retain them. Gemini even tells you this. Human reviewers, including people working for its service providers, can read your chats. The second reader is an attacker. In January 2025, researchers found a DeepSeek database sitting on the web with no authentication at all. Over 1 million log lines, including plain text chat histories and API keys. Anyone who found the open port had full admin control. In February 2026, a consumer app called Chat and Ask AI with more than 50 million downloads exposed hundreds of millions of private conversations. Full chat histories tied to real users, and a browser extension marketed as a privacy tool was found intercepting conversations across ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Copilot, Perplexity, DeepSeek, and Grok, and then sending them to a data broker. The AI company wasn't breached at all. Everything you typed was collected on the way past. None of this makes AI companies uniquely careless, but it just makes them normal. Every organization holding data eventually has a bad security day. You are handing your most candid thoughts to companies that will, at some stage, have a bad day. The third reader is a stranger on the internet. Every AI tool has a share button. It generates a public URL, not a private link, a page on the open internet. And last year, people started finding other people's conversations in Google. Coding problems, work notes, personal chats, company information nobody meant to publish. It was spotted on Reddit first. There was no breach. No one was hacked. These were pages people had created themselves by clicking the share button without understanding that sharing and publishing are one and the same thing. Anthropic told crawlers not to index those pages, but they used the wrong tag. So the door wasn't forced, it was just never locked. This has happened more than once. Forbes reported hundreds of Claude conversations turning up in search results the year before. ChatGPT and Grok have both been through the same thing. Every share link you have ever created is still live unless you went back and deleted it. The fourth reader is a judge. In May 2025, a magistrate judge in the Southern District of New York issued a preservation order in the New York Times copyright case against OpenAI. It required OpenAI to retain all chats to be used in the court case. That covered conversations users had deleted. It covered people who had switched off training and data sharing. And it covered temporary chats, the mode sold on the promise that it disappears. The obligation ended in the autumn of 2025, and OpenAI went back to its normal deletion schedule. But everything captured during that window is still held. And in November 2025, the court ordered 20 million de-identified conversation logs to be handed over to the legal team in discovery. 20 million conversations, people deleted those chats, the deletion did not survive contact with a judge. Nobody behaved badly here. OpenAI fought the order, the judge was doing her job. The system worked exactly as it is designed to work, and the result is that a lot of people's private conversations are sitting in a legal hold they will never be told about. The fifth reader is the person who pays for your account. On team and enterprise plans, the primary owner can run an organization data export. It contains members' conversations, uploaded files, and usage patterns. It isn't a live feed, and somebody has to choose to run it, but the capability is there and it is documented. That 30-day default that I mentioned earlier is a default. Your organization can set it to years. Now, incognito mode. Claude's incognito chats do something real. The conversation stays out of your history, it doesn't feed memory, and it isn't used for training, even if your model improvement toggle is on. ChatGPT's temporary chats behave very much in the same way. But here's what Anthropic's own Help Center says. Incognito chats aren't visible in users' chat histories, but they remain available to account owners through data export. So incognito hides the conversation from you, but it doesn't hide it from your employer. And none of this is a big scandal. If you run a regulated business or one that might face a legal claim, you need a record of what your people did with company tools. Anthropic and OpenAI would be criticized if they didn't provide that. The problem is the mismatch. Almost nobody typing into a work account knows any of this. They're using an interface that looks like a private conversation on an account that is explicitly not private and nobody has told them. So here's what you can do about it. I'm not going to tell you to stop using these tools. That argument never works, and I don't believe it anyway. But there are 8 things you can do, and together they'll take about 15 minutes. 1. Switch off model training. This shortens how long your chats are retained and keeps your work out of the next model. 2. Stop pressing thumbs up and thumbs down on Claude. One click stores that conversation for 5 years and overrides the setting you just changed. 3. Treat share links as publishing. Anything you share by link is a page on the open internet. Go and delete the old ones you no longer need. 4. Use incognito or temporary chats for sensitive queries, knowing exactly what they do. They keep things out of your history and out of training. They hide nothing from your employer. 5. Separate your work and personal accounts. The company seat is for company work. Everything else goes on a personal account with no organization above it. A personal pro account has no export path even if your employer pays for it. 6. Assume a second reader exists. Not somebody watching in real time, but a court, an administrator, a researcher, an attacker. At some point, something you can't predict. 7. Build your AI fluency so you don't fall for this stuff. You can take my AI Fluency for Leaders course or sign up to my Substack, The Humans in the Loop, or subscribe to this channel. 8. For anything genuinely sensitive, run a model on your own machine. Tools like Ollama and LM Studio let you download an open model and chat to it with nothing leaving your hardware. It's about 20 minutes to set up, and the trade is capability, because a model running on your laptop is not going to be as good as the one in the cloud. Use it for the small number of things that should never leave your control, and use the commercial tools for everything else. And one warning, if that machine belongs to your employer, local isn't private either. There is no doctor-patient confidentiality between you and a chatbot. There is no attorney-client privilege. There is no off-the-record. Those protections exist because societies decided over centuries that certain conversations were worth shielding by law. No equivalent decision has been made about the conversations we are now having with machines. That will get litigated over the next few years. Some of it absolutely should. But until then, work on the assumption that your chats are one court order, one data export, or one flagged conversation away from being read. Nobody is reading your chats until somebody is.